Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Stage Debate podcast with Isaac Weinberger. Today we have a very, very special guest, Zack Gharib of Red Roof. I don't take it for granted that we're getting tremendous guests on the podcast, having real conversations. So definitely tune in. This is going to be very, very exciting. Thank you very much to our sponsors. This cannot happen without you. Our corporate sponsor, Michael Stern of Line Star Tax and LSD Consultants, real tax geniuses. Definitely folks you should be reaching out to in the multifamily space, doing a variety of different things, lease ups and so on and so forth, and just guys that really, really know the space. And to our episode sponsor, Himesh Jaram of Amri Tech Distribution. What a guy. Providing LG TVs across the nation to many, many top tier hospitality firms, as well as folks that own one hotel. So definitely somebody you should be reaching out to, honest, good friend of mine, and he will not disappoint. Tune in, folks, and definitely an exciting one. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Stage Debate podcast with Cossack Isaac. Today we have a fabulous guest, one of the hospitality space's icons, Zack Gharib of Red Roof. Red Roof Inn obviously is a household name. You travel on the highway, you see red roofs on the side, and you guys have many hotels across the country. We'll get more into that. Zack, thank you so much for coming on. We're very excited to have you.
Isaac, I'm very excited too. You know, no one has called me icon before, but I can tell you a lot of people call Red Roof iconic. So I think there's a correlation there.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited for our conversation and to dive deep into the world of hotels, into the world of Red Roof style and what they bring to the table, what you guys bring, what makes you guys special. Because obviously we know that there's many different brands out there. There's many different tiers, right? You have the beautiful hotels of the world. You have the limited service. You have select service. You have full service. You have a lot of different style hotels. Everybody caters to a different clientele. But obviously there's money to be made in any sector. And me growing up, obviously I've seen Red Roof just like I've seen Heinz ketchup in Walmart, right? It's a staple of the world. It's a staple of the United States. So
Yeah.
very excited to have you. Thank you, everybody, to the audience. Zach's dialing in from Ohio. Ohio holds a special place in my heart. I lived in Cleveland for a few years. And thank God we do a lot of work with many hoteliers in Ohio and the greater Midwest. So Zack, I'm going to throw it out to you. Give us a background about you. We're not going to talk about Red Roof yet. We'll get to that soon. Background about you. Where'd you grow up? How'd you land in Ohio? And how did you even get involved in the hospitality world? And obviously that ended up maneuvering into Red Roof, but give us the steps along the way.
Yeah, no, it's an honor to be here at Red Roof today in Columbus, Ohio. This is where our headquarters are. And who would have thought, right? I mean, I was born in a small town in Lebanon, the country, and as I grew up and I went to college, and I did my business degree in business management, and I was on the basketball team. So we took a trip to Athens, Greece, to play different colleges from Greece, from Turkey, Lebanon, and then really, I mean, that changed the trajectory of my life. That trip, I met the GM of that property, and as we used to come back from the games, and he would sit with us, and just would chat and talk, and he seemed like he was having the best time of his life. And I'm like, wow, I can see myself doing this. So really, it changed my entire trajectory of my career, and that's when I decided to come do my master's degree in hospitality here in the U.S., the greatest country on earth, and the best. We have a great program, and so that's when I came in, did my master's degree, and I was recruited by a company called White Lodging Services out of college, Texas Tech University, Lubbock, Texas, and so they had Marriott products, Hilton products, so I had a great foundation leadership from them, and I joined Marriott Hotels International, and then La Quinta and Wyndham and Highgate, great organizations in our industry that I've learned so much from, the cultures and also the leaders of these organizations. And here I am, in Columbus at the helm of Red Roof. So it's been a great journey that way.
Wow, wow, wow. So
Yeah,
the first question I have for you is basketball. What position did you play?
I played shooting guard.
Wow.
Yeah,
Where
I'm only like 6 feet, 6'1" on a good day with the right shoe, with the high shoes. So shooting guard was my play.
Wow. So you sat in the corner and they dished out a nice pass to you and you nailed the three. That was
That's
you. You were the
at
Clay
least
Thompson.
at least I tried. At least I tried. Yeah,
Wow.
for sure.
Beautiful. So
Did you
I
did you
love
play did you
basketball.
play basketball, Isaac?
I'm a big basketball guy. Basketball is my favorite sport. I love playing basketball. I follow basketball. I actually was a big Cleveland guy, so the Cleveland Cavaliers are actually doing pretty well these days. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, back in the LeBron era, so that was a lot of fun. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So
That's
let me
awesome.
ask you, Zach. Um, we're going to work backwards a little bit. Let's
Yeah.
talk about a little bit about Red Roof, and then I want to hear your involvement in certain things that transpire. How many Red Roof inns are there across the country, approximately?
Yeah, we have 714 hotels today across the country. Well, two in Japan. So there you go. We have two in Tokyo area, but that's our number. I mean, we have great distribution in the southeast and the east coast and Midwest and Texas. One of our goals is to really grow on the West Coast more, but our distribution is very very strong.
Wow, wow, wow! And how do you pick your markets? Why do you pick the Midwest over you know what I mean, Washington State? What
Yeah,
talks to you more about the Midwest?
I mean, our founder, he started here in Columbus, right? And so when you start in a city, you just venture out from that city. And I think that organically, it was really good to start in the Midwest. So we have a lot of hotels in Ohio, and then we grew into Indiana and Pennsylvania. And so that's really why the distribution is that way. Now, barriers to entry on the West Coast are also higher. So we're trying to break these barriers. I think we have some exciting things for the future, but we were born in the Midwest, and that's why we have great distribution here.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It actually makes a lot of sense. I grew up in Detroit, and I'm gonna buy some multifamily, or I'm gonna buy a hotel or a retail strip center. I'm gonna buy it in my backyard, and then, as you said, I'll expound on that. Um,
Yes.
expand on that and grow my markets 100%. And how many people does Red Roof employ? Or I'm assuming we're talking in the tens of thousands.
So directly at the corporate level, we have about 200 between 220 to 250, fluctuates based on what we're trying to accomplish. But overall, in the franchise community and in the field, we have close to 10,000 employees.
Wow,
Yes.
wow,
So yes.
wow. So what happened exactly? Walk the audience through what happened. Obviously, you were a very devoted and you had that hustle in you coming from Lebanon. And as we all know, we've talked about in the podcast before, there's a certain immigrant mentality that people have, and when their backs are against the wall, they fight. They fight a fight that is quite unmatchable at times because we have a drive that others may not. That's just the facts on the table. And you come from Lebanon, you come to the U.S., you master an X. You go ahead and you master in what did you say you went for?
Uh, Here, hospitality. And
Hospitality.
yes, yes.
And then obviously one thing leads to the next, and God has his way of doing things and things fall into place. But to be the president of Red Roof is not something that you just you blink your eye and happens. So my question is, are there certain people and certain scenarios and certain things that happen in your life that made that happen? Or was that your goal to begin with? Was your goal, I'm going to be the president of one of these big franchises one day?
I honestly, I never imagined that would happen. And that's the reality. My goal was I am going to be a general manager of a big hotel one day. And that's what I saw myself. And, in the beginning, so we were on the opening team of the full service Marriott in downtown Indianapolis. I was running the housekeeping department at the time. And after we opened, Mr. Bill Marriott came to visit the property after opening, and he was walking around and he was shaking hands and saying congratulations, and he got to me and my whole housekeeping team, and he shook hands and congratulated everybody. He's like, you have one major responsibility, young man. I said, what is it, Mr. Mayotte? He said, make sure you take care of your team. And honestly, that, like, imagine when you're a young manager and you have an icon, and he is an icon, right? That Mr. Billy Marriott is the icon of the industry, telling you this. So I carried that through my entire career and my entire life, and it served me well. I always want to make sure our team is taken care of. And then throughout my tenure, when I was with La Quinta, we had the president of La Quinta, Rajiv Trivedi, and that's when I joined the franchise organization. I became director of franchise operations and then vice president of franchise operations. And he would always say, relationship, relationship, relationship. It's like, location, location, location in the real estate world. And, relationships go a long way, especially in the franchise world. And, I've met a lot of, you mentioned it yourself, Isaac, you're absolutely right. I've met a lot of very hardworking individuals that migrated here or grew up working at their parents' hotels and motels, and they have the same goal in mind, right? It's like they have a hospitality spirit. How do we serve people and make sure also we are successful, put food on the table for our families? And so, I went through those two things, Mr. Marriott's take care of your team, and Mr. Trivedi's relationship, and they have served me very well in this journey. And my last position was senior vice president of operation at Highgate, which is a very well respected management company in the industry. And when I got the opportunity to come to Red Roof, and I took that leap, and I got the lucky call. So that's
Incredible, incredible. Yeah, and that's what I was taught as well. And obviously, you have so much more experience than I do. Is that give it your best shot. Be humble, work hard, listen, stay teachable. Now you remain teachable. And like you said, your makeup is really a hybrid between those two things that you learn. Relationships, relationships, relationships. Treat everybody nicely. These are things that are golden. And I believe in today's day and age, when everything's about the dollar, everybody's chasing their tail. Sometimes it could be a little hard to go ahead and put a focus on that. But when you go ahead as the president of Red Roof and you show up at one of your locations and you talk with one of the employees, you talk with a few of the employees, they feel good. And when they feel good, they do a better job. And it could be a small little gesture, right? It could be a small little thing. I just saw on LinkedIn, Mitch Patel of Vision. He visited, I think, 34 out of, I don't know, maybe 34 out of all 34, out of 44 hotels he had in a week. Talking to employees. These are the small things that really make it count. That's what really makes a good leader, right? There's so many things that make up a good leader. And I want you to expound on that as well, is that you could have a guy that's very smart, right? I throw it back to the NBA. LeBron James, I believe he's the greatest all-around player to play the game. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, all these guys had a much more of a killer instinct in them, right? They could hit a shot with 0.5 seconds left on the clock and they'll nail it. They had ice in their veins. LeBron doesn't have ice in his veins, but as a leader, as a passer, all around, that's what makes a good leader. You can't just be a smart, good guy. And you come across, and what I've seen you speak, I've seen you on LinkedIn, you come across as a guy as leadership capabilities. And like you're saying, it's so important. And obviously you mentioned Highgate. I believe I just saw they did one of their biggest transactions. I don't know if it was ever, but I think they just purchased some huge hotel in New York City. Is that correct?
Yes, you're right. I think it's the Intercontinental, I believe.
Wow.
But I mean, by the way, kudos to Mitch Patel. He's a tremendous visionary and icon in the industry. So, but it's important. It's important to be in front. We are in the people business at the end of the day, right? It's important to be, with your teams, with your franchisees, with your guests. I think, to me, that is really the biggest reward and the biggest fun, the most fun of the entire situation is being with our people.
Exactly. And this is really going to segue into the crux of what I want to talk about. Um, so I was having a conversation with a hotel owner a few months ago, and I'm not going to say which brand he was talking about. It was not Red Roof, so don't worry. But it was a certain brand, and he was frustrated that the leader of that brand. So imagine yourself. So the leader of that brand over there was they were putting on certain requirements that he didn't understand, which essentially made him come out of pocket with a lot of money. And he told me, he said, I don't care about coming out of pocket with the money. I want to understand it. Why is it important to you? Is it just because you want more brand visibility? Is it because of this? At the end of the day, without franchisees, there's no brand, right? If everybody left Red Roof today, there's no more Red Roof. Now, maybe you
Yeah,
guys
that,
own some of your own hotels, but the point is we need to make the franchisees happy. At the same time, we have certain brand requirements. We have to make sure that there's no bed bugs in the room, right?
yes.
We have to make sure they have a certain type of TV. So my question is, like, obviously you have a team under you. You're not calling every single franchisee. It's not possible. But what message do you give over to your team when it comes to brand requirements, when it comes to that chit chat between the franchisee and the franchise of frustrations, or why are you making me do this? How do you handle these type of things?
That's a great question. Look, I believe we are a franchisee-centric organization. And so our entire team knows that because at the end of the day, we at Red Roof Corporate, we serve our franchisees, we support them, we train them, we answer their calls whenever they need us, right? We are there for them at every corner so that they can go deliver the great guest experience. Because our main goal collectively, franchisees and as a franchisor, as a brand, is one, which is creating memories for our guests, because that's what we're in this business for, right? So we are all aligned in that aspect. I think if you look at our core values, Isaac, which spell the word habits, right? Stands for trust, and in the franchise community, and what we believe in very strongly, without any hesitation, is our relationship with our franchisees has to be focused on fairness, openness, and honesty. I mean, trust is, you can build trust in a year or two or three. It takes you to build that great trust. You can break it in a second. And that's something that we all know collectively here we cannot afford, we will never do, because we're genuinely invested in our franchisees' success. Two is, you had the story about a brand asking somebody without really the why. When we adopt an idea, and ideas can come from owners, from guests, from team members, conferences, it doesn't matter where it comes. When we get an idea, we debate it, we analyze it, and we finally adopt it. If it doesn't really have a great value add to our guest or a great ROI to our franchisee, it's not happening. Right? Even though we may like it, we think it's cool and it's shiny. It doesn't. If it doesn't serve one of these two factors, it's not gonna fly. And that's we take that very seriously. Now, obviously, when we look at our technology, which is, you hear AI these days, and there's so many. It's like a kid going in a toy store, and there's so many things that you can. Oh, I like this. I like this. This is make it easy, but again, if it doesn't drive revenue, if it doesn't cut cost or drive operational excellence, then we're not going to adopt it. And that engagement with our franchise community on a constant basis. I mean, we have what we call a franchise advisory council, and that is a group of owners, from our brand, that esteemed owners. They've been in the industry for a long time. They have Red Roofs. Some of them have other brands, and we engage with them on a regular basis. I mean, we consult with them. We talk about initiatives collectively to make sure we are not doing something that's not, as out of this world, because it doesn't serve us well. It doesn't serve our franchisees well. At the end of the day, it doesn't serve our guests well. And that's why also when, this year in 2025, we created our ownership town halls. So every quarter we do an online town hall with our owners, and we have many of them, hundreds of them join, and where I highlight the the health of the industry and the challenges, and how are we doing as a brand? What are the initiatives? How can we go out there and deliver a better guest experience collectively, right? And then we open it up for Q&A at the end, so there's a dialogue. So we keep that connectivity going, because at the end of the day, like you said, without franchisees, there's no brand, and without no brand, we don't have any guests either. So it's all a circle, and franchisee satisfaction and support is very important, and that's why our franchisee satisfaction rate is 92%, which we're very proud of that aspect.
Wow. I really like the way you put it. It's open lines of communication. Sometimes it's not like something will change. Help me understand where you're coming from. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? So just explaining to them, this is the reason why this is important to us as a franchise. This is how it's going to help you as a franchisee. When you explain something, there's open lines of communication. That's where I believe so much arguments, disagreements can come from, when people just don't understand where the other person's coming from. Um, wow, wow. And
Yeah,
I
I mean,
really, really, yeah,
I'll
go
give
for it.
I'll give you a quick example. I mean, things that you just like, we had these alarm clocks in rooms for so long, right? Because people use them for wake up calls and for to learn. But when you start really digging into that aspect of it, and whether it was Marriott, I mean, I was with all kind of brands, right? And it doesn't matter. Is now every guest has their phone. A lot of times those alarm clocks, they don't get set right, and they have the wrong time, and or somebody set the alarm 2 days or yesterday, but the housekeeper didn't know how to turn it off. So now all of a sudden you're sleeping, the alarm goes up. So when you have a common sense approach to things, when you start asking guests, how do you feel about this? When you start asking owner, how do you feel about this? And you get collective, oh, we don't care about the alarm clock. So we ended up removing it. It's a small example, but it highlights that interaction between brand, franchisees, and guests. It really leads into things that are, in a sense, good for everybody.
And I like that in town halls as well. Like, it's just, hey, we're here for you. We're not going to just wait for you to call us. We're actually going to create a platform where we're available 100% of the time. But specifically now, just come, ask your questions. We'll let you know what's going on. We'll let you know new requirements, less requirements, how we're pivoting. I love that. Zach, I really, really like it. Let me ask you. So in
Thanks.
2025, I think everybody would agree that the competition is becoming more and more fierce. People are leveraging so many different platforms and technology to really create real competition. And do you feel like you guys are pivoting in any sort of sense? Do you feel like the competition is a drop more fierce? Do you feel that at times maybe you have to lower your fees to compete with somebody? How do you guys look at what's going on today?
It's all the above. I mean, you nailed it. The competitive landscape right now is challenging out there for everybody, right? Because every brand wants to grow, and every brand wants to do better. And obviously, with the macroeconomics that we have over the last 18 months of 2 years, if you will, especially a mid-scale and economy segment, I think luxury is doing very well right now, which is good. Uh, but the competitive landscape is real out there. So, but I think when we look at our brand specifically, and that's what we can control. There's a lot of things we can control, and if you get sucked into that aspect, it doesn't really help in anything. So what we focus here is we focus on what we control. What we can control is our culture. I spoke about our culture of habits. H for hospitality, A, adaptability. Keep that innovation going. Adaptability. B for belonging, I for impact, T for trust, and S for success. And then the entire organization believes in those core values and our vision. And so we are true to that. We don't just say it; we live it. The second thing is, I mean, we have four brands. We have Red Roof Inn, and Red Roof Plus. People have known these brands for 52 years now. And then we have Hometown Studios, which is our extended stay product that we introduced in 2018. We also have our soft brand, the Red Collection, which also we introduced in 2018, which is more boutique, lifestyle, mid-scale, upper mid-scale. So, and we are focused, laser focused on these main brands. We know the winning formula. We've operated these for a long time. We used to own and manage some of these, so we learned we learned the formula, and we're committed to this. It's like a Chick-fil-A. You got three items on the menu, or In-N-Out Burger, right? But you master them. You know what makes them great, and then you go sell them, and then they have a recipe of success. And I believe at Red Roof we have a similar recipe, because we are not trying to dilute our brand by introducing different things. We're focused on growing what we know is successful and can be rewarding for our guests and our franchisees. So, I've read this book lately called "It's Not the Big That Eats the Small, It's the Slow. It's the fast that eats the slow." And I truly believe in that. I mean, as you read the book, you get a sense of like, wow, this is really true. But we are a big company, 714 hotels, and we'll be 715 by the end of the week or more. But we are small enough that we can, when we adopt an idea, our speed to execution is high. And so we can really just move fast, right? We don't have bureaucracy. We don't have too many different levels. We don't have a tremendous rollout challenges over thousands of hotels. So we are in a spot that we can continue going fast, which is helping us really introduce a lot of great initiatives and programs and technology that's helping our guests and our franchisees. So we are in a great spot there. And if you know Red Roof, you've always heard it. Our motto is genuine relationships, real results. And so that's our motto. And it's great, man. That was before my days, but I love it, and we live by that every day.
Wow. You're saying good stuff, Zach. You're saying good stuff. So again, for the
Well,
audience,
it's really. I mean, this is what we are. I love the team here. I love the culture. I love our community and our guests. So it's all organic, man.
it's you love what you do. It's incredible. We had on the last podcast, one of the guests was Ricky Ramon from Peach State Hospitality in Atlanta, and he mentioned something that I've heard before, but I have to remind myself every day. And this is exactly what you said: control the controllables. There's many things that are out of our control, and we can start going crazy the whole day. We got to fix this and that. Write down a list. What can I control? And go ahead, control the controllables. And number two, what you mentioned, was let's call a spade a spade. Marriott and Hilton have tens and tens of brands. Obviously, there's a reason why Marriott and Hilton are Marriott and Hilton, right? They're multi-billion-dollar organizations, and
Two
they're doing
amazing
well.
brands. Two very
They
amazing.
have amazing brands. But like you said, at the same exact time, when you're small enough, obviously you're not small. Close to 1,000 hotels is nothing small at all. But you can roll it out potentially in a more efficient manner because you have the boutique style versus complete corporate. And I like that. I like that. There is an element that people appreciate when it comes to those things. It can be guests, it can be franchisees. You roll out an idea. It doesn't have to go ahead and be shelved every 2 weeks until you speak to that person and that person. And 3 years later, it's like, oh, we're talking about this again. Here, we implement something. 2 weeks later, we're rolling it out. But no, it's
Not that fast, but fast enough.
right. Just at least if you aim for 2 weeks, it'll take 2 months. If you aim for 2 months, it'll take 6 months. So just
Yes.
no,
So
we're
true.
very
So true.
fast
So true.
paced.
Yes.
But wow, very very interesting to go inside. This is the first time that we're having the president of a franchise come on. We've had a lot of hotel owners, so they're really the franchisees. We're gonna have Wyndham. We're gonna have Wyndham soon, God willing. Yeah, I forgot his first name. Geoff.
Jeff Bellotti.
Yes.
Jeff used to be my boss, so now I work with Wyndham. So
Really?
great,
Right. He's the point.
great guy. You're gonna enjoy him. I think the audience will enjoy him. He's amazing.
No, but it's so interesting to hear. And by the way, maybe one day we'll do something really cool and we'll have maybe 6 people on. We'll have a few big time hotel owners and a few of the presidents of the franchises, and we'll go head to head.
That will be a real debate right there.
That'll be a real debate. That would actually be very cool. One day we'll do it. But very, very cool. Wow. So Zach, just to recap again, so we're talking about control the controllables. We're talking about open lines of communication. We're talking about a system where, again, you're at the helm, and you can go ahead and roll out stuff in an efficient manner, which actually can go ahead and affect the pockets of your franchisees. So I have a question. We're not at the end yet, but what would you tell a potential franchisee who's debating between you and a potential competitor? You talk so much about habits and you broke down what habits stand for and what you guys represent. And I love that. And you already said everything. But if you met a guy in the street, you had a minute to go ahead and tell him something. He's not giving you a lot of time. What's the Red Roof pitch in a nutshell?
I always want to make sure what are they looking for, right? Because I can pitch all day, but if it doesn't align with what their needs, and then I'm just speaking up in space really. So I think understanding what everyone's needs are, what they're looking for, really is very important. And I always try to make sure I listen and understand before I say anything, because sometimes we're not even a good fit, right? And so somebody else is a better fit, and that's okay. And then we have to accept that, and it's better for everybody. But I mean, if I have to say a couple of things about Red Roof, and look, when I joined the organization, I've always heard of Red Roof. You hear about it from the long days, families traveling on the road, station wagons, the kids coming into station wagons. But when I joined Red Roof, I realized that motto, genuine relationships, real results. I mean, the team here, if you get 5 minutes to meet everybody here, you'll know immediately that this thing is built for Red Roof, because the team is just amazing, so passionate. Longevity is so long. And at the end of the day, we are here to do two things. One is deliver a great guest experience, and so which we value, we support, we train on. And two is to achieve success. And I think at Red Roof, if you call us at midnight, we're going to answer your phone. If you want to reach the president, you will reach them the same day, right? If you need to talk to a vice president, he or she can fly to your hotel within days or a week, right? So we are very accessible. We are there with you, day in, day out, at every corner, and we will not rest until you are successful. And it's really true, and that's what we're proud on. I think, and my last word is, just ask the franchise community; they'll tell you that.
Incredible. No, I have clients across the U.S. who own Red Roof hotels, and good people, and they've always had nice things to say. I have a question for you, Zach. Where did Red Roof Inn? Where did the name come from? Because it's such a fabulous name. I love it. Where was it originated? You just pulled it out of the hat?
Our founder, Mr. Truman, I don't know where how he got
You
the
pulled it
name
out somewhere,
Red
but
Roof
it's a good
Inn.
name. It's a
So
great name.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, our colors are red and black, which I guess go after OSU. I hope I'm not pissing off anybody. But I think that's where we started, and then obviously we have the red roof on the building. So it seems
It's
catchy. I don't know.
very, very cool. Very, very cool. So I have a question for you. So I'm talking. I think we talked about this in the podcast with a different guest, but I'm curious your take because it's more applicable to the Red Roofs of the world. I have a guy. He's a client of mine. He doesn't buy branded hotels. He buys unbranded hotels. It's not flagged, and he tells me I am a good wheeler dealer. I know how to get financing even if I don't have a brand. And he said the only reason why somebody would get a brand is because they want better financing. And obviously, there's so much more to it, and I don't believe that to be too true. The question is, he tells me like this. I challenge him. I said, by the way, I said you're going to get fewer guests because people don't feel as comfortable when they drive down the road and it's an unbranded hotel versus a red roof. He said, you're right. But even if I'm 30% less guests, the franchise fee that I have to pay, that now I don't have to pay, will cover that. Well, obviously, these are certain types of people maybe you don't even want to deal with, but conceptually, what would you say to that argument?
I would say that most people that go join a brand they don't go back to independent for a reason. So I think that's really my simplest answer is, it's yes, revenue definitely is skyrockets from an aspect, but also the technology and the support. The technology support cuts your expenses quite a bit from what you have. I mean, just if you look, independent hotels, OTAs, third party channels are really a lot of their bread and butter. And so, if you have 50 or 60% of if your hotel at 20 or 22% fee because you're independent negotiating versus with a brand at 15%, that that gap also goes directly to your pocket. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, but it's. I think the easiest one is people who join brands, they don't go back independent. That's something.
100%. There's a certain safety. You know, there's somebody taking care of you, or there's somebody, you have a brand out there. There's so many reasons. 100%. 100%. Yeah. It's good to, you get this challenger sometimes. And you try to make strong cases at the same time. No, I know for myself, if I'm driving down the highway and I stop at the side of the highway, I'm going to a branded hotel versus an unbranded hotel every single day of the week, right? I don't care if it's $50 more than anything. You feel safer, you feel protected. You don't know what's going on in an unbranded hotel. Wow, very cool. Another question I wanted to ask you,
Here, I
Zach.
mean, here's the
You
thing.
go for it.
I mean, independent hotels can be like, it can be boutique, it can be lifestyle. So
Right,
there's differences, and
there's
obviously,
different 100%,
yeah,
100%. I'm not referring to those types. I'm referring to not those types. Obviously, you have
yeah,
the lifestyles and the boutique style hotels, of course, and they have a name of them for themselves.
yes,
Some random rundown building where it's like independent. Here, you can stay there for $35 a night or $65 a night. It's like, hey, what's really going on over there, right? Because I can guarantee you, in today's day and age, there's certain precautions that you guys take to many different areas. There's many things. There could be illicit stuff going on by hotels. It could be drugs. It could be other things. And you guys, obviously, as a brand, you guys are more on top of it. I'm sure you guys are than somebody who has an independent hotel, right? There's a certain safety that comes along with it.
absolutely. I mean, as a brand, we have requirements, we have brand standards, and obviously, you want every hotel in the system. It doesn't matter what brand, you want every hotel to adhere to those 100%. You have gaps there, and there's a processes to deal with these gaps. But yes, I mean, consistency in the product, consistency in the service and the offerings, that's really important. And safety and security is one of them.
Wow, a whole nother world out there. So let me ask, we're nearing the end of the show, Zach. Let me ask you like this. What would you say in 2025 the biggest challenge for franchisees are? And I don't mean to say the biggest challenge franchisees are facing with their franchise. The biggest challenge you're seeing with your franchisees, is it interest rates? Is it guests not going on more outings? What are you seeing today's day and age challenge?
Look, I've always say revenue hides all problems, right? And so when you don't have revenue, when you have weakening demands, which we have seen over the last, couple, 2, 3 years, since the height of it in 2022, after COVID, it was like a V shape, and it's been declining in the economy and mid-scale segment. Uh, so when you don't have that strong revenue, then everything comes to light. And so I think right now the biggest challenge is there's an inflection point where the rising cost and the declining revenues have come to an inflection point that's squeezing our franchisees' margins quite a bit. And in some cases, even if they're making it. So I think that's the biggest challenge is, look, they can't control, we spoke about control earlier. They can't control the economic factors and the demand overall. But cost is something that in their control. But when you got insurance that's really skyrocketing in a sense, doubling and tripling. When you got labor shortage that's really creating wage increases in our industry, that rising cost is something that is in their control, but it's extremely challenging, to keep intact.
How does it work? Do they come to you complaining and saying, "Hey, can you guys help out in some sort of way?" What would your response be? Again, obviously, every situation is individually different, but it's not your fault if certain things are happening. But at the same time, you want your franchisees to do well because if not, they go bankrupt and their hotel shuts down and they can't pay you your fee,
Yep.
right?
Well, absolutely. So they don't come to us complaining per se, but I mean, as we work with them hand in hand, right? We understand everyone's situation. We can see the numbers. I mean, we can see everyone's market share. We can see everyone's RevPAR, which is revenue. We understand the situation of each hotel, and I can tell you. I mean, for example, we introduced a lot of technology aspects this year that is direct savings to our franchisees, right? This is something that we can do, and it's not to help them. As an example, we partnered with Freedom Pay, which is a payment processing firm. So we cut their credit card transaction fees in half. So that translates into thousands in their pockets, right? We rolled out a new PMS system in Hotel Key last year. Well, because of that Hotel Key PMS, we can now integrate things, and we can create direct connectivity with OTAs. So now we don't have to go through another party to do the transaction. It's direct. So that saves our franchisees that transaction fee, which is substantial, almost $3, and 20 cents a transaction. So those are the things that we can actually take and help reduce their cost, right? We can't go and reduce their insurance costs. It's out of our control. But there are some things that we can continue doing to offset some of those increases that they're having.
Very smart. I like that. I like that a lot, Zach. And then just something that came into my mind based on what you're saying is like, if somebody comes to market and a guy who could be a good client for Red Roof, but he could be a good client for Red Roof's competitor. But because you guys are so entrenched in the market, you guys know the game so well, maybe that gives you the edge to get credit card processing fees down by 50%, to get like the other stuff you're saying, the key cards and other discounts you're getting and putting real money in your franchisee's pocket. So when you go with a guy like you, when you go with a company like Red Roof, you know you're in good hands that wherever they can save you money, they will be saving the money. And that's so important because
Yeah.
people look at the price. Red Roof's charging me 15%, and this other franchise is charging me 13. Let's look. I'm gonna own this hotel for the next 20 years. Let's actually crunch the numbers based upon Red Roof's experience in negotiating vendors down and putting real money back in our pockets.
Oh, I mean, you absolutely, you nailed it. I mean, right? I mean, that procurement on a brand level, when you have hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hotels or things,
You have more
that
negotiating power. You have
yeah,
negotiating
negotiating power, it's all reduced costs, and that goes back to helping independent hotels, because that all at the end of the day goes down to their pocket line.
exactly. That's a
Now,
good point as well.
I think as someone that doesn't really want to adhere to brand standards and want to do their own thing, then a brand is not the right is not the right fit in some cases.
Zach, this was incredible. This was a fabulous conversation. I'm very excited for all the listeners. This is incredible. Zach, leave us with a minute message to all hotel owners out there in the U.S. So it could be Hilton guys, Marriott people, Sunsetta, Wyndham. One message for 2025 for all hotel owners out there.
Yeah, well, that's a loaded question. Look, I think my message is really revolves around three things. One is, we talked about it. It's been a really challenging environment, right? Especially domestically. International has been good in all sense, but domestically has been challenging. But we have seen this in the 2008, economy. We've seen after COVID, and the one thing about our industry is that we are very resilient, and we adapt and we make changes, or we get better, and then this way, when we come out of it, we are way better off for it, right? So I think hopefully we're towards the end here, but we're resilient and we're gonna bounce back, and it's gonna be great. I think that's my first message. My second message is, you hear about layoffs. Every time you open you try to watch TV, or you open a news, you hear layoffs here, layoffs there, 1,000 here, and I think after COVID, our employees really had a chance to go a lot of places because there's a lot of demand, right? But the loyal, the good employees, the loyal ones, the dedicated ones stayed with us and really were committed to our growth and to our visions as brands and hoteliers or whatever it is. So now it's our time to stand by them as well, because it's unnerving out there to a lot of people, and people are scared not only because of AI, whatever it is, but it's a real thing. And so now, really taking care of our employees is a great thing for us to do. And my third thing is AI is here to stay. So stay true to core values, to your vision, but don't get sucked into all the shiny objects. Just get what you really, because it's gonna become better and cheaper as we go. So just stay alert that way.
Beautiful, beautiful. Love those messages, and I'm excited for our listeners. Zach, thank you very much. Thank you guys for tuning in to another fabulous episode of the Stage Debate podcast with Cossack Isaac. What a conversation. Just really where it's at in terms of honesty, integrity, just being there for your clients in a world of running after the dollar, so somebody can go ahead and actually provide real value, come in, and somebody who's going to take care of you is not something that's found in every single corner. So shout out to Red Roof and what they've done, what they've accomplished, what they continue to do. Very, very exciting. And you can find our episode on all platforms, streaming on all platforms. Reach out to me if you'd like to sponsor or be on the podcast. And definitely reach out if you have any Cossack related questions. I'd be more than happy to help you. Have a wonderful day. See you on the next pod.